I think Big Head is. Oh, I can see him smiling. I think we're in good shape. We are live,
Yep.
guys. Welcome back. Come try Larp National Tournament, Sword and Board, second set of pools. This episode is sponsored by Gorg the Blacksmith. Buy it or die it. Die by it. Thank you so much for the sponsorship on this tourney and the replays. Tonight, on my right, Big Head. Welcome back, sir. Say hello so everybody knows who you are.
Hello.
Bino on my left. Please say hello there.
How's it going,
Uh,
gang?
Bino, you were able to make it to the tournament. I know Big Head we talked about last time. He wasn't able to. What did you think about the tournament?
Yeah, so I had a lot of fantastic fights. The ditching was also fantastic. One thing I will say is that even though there weren't a lot of people that showed up, that skill level and that was massive. You know, it was some of the best fights outside of like going to a very large tournament like Keep or something like that.
Uh,
So
def-
very good. And it looks like we have Ferrix and New Mike. Ferrix is going to be on the left. New Mike is going to be on our right. Looks like we might have lost Big Head again.
I'm back in, but
Okay, great.
the visual is no good. That one looked like it went to new mic on the shoulder
Yeah,
tag.
I think it looked like it crossed over and hit the shoulder.
And
Yeah,
Ferrix
there's
is always a.
go ahead.
I was gonna say Ferrix is always a very very aggressive fighter. He
Mhm.
absolutely wants to get in and get the exchange over with. And he's gotten really really good at doing that in particular. It looks like he picked up the simul there.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah. I think this is a very similar same thing to what we were seeing with the last fight, which is they don't fight each other very often, so they're kind of like sussing each other out. And then, as you said, Ferrix is very aggressive, so he's as soon as there's an opportunity, going for it, you know.
yeah.
And New Bike just didn't take a step back in that case. So Ferrix, the aggressive fighter, got to continue to be aggressive, you know, really controlling the fight, as opposed to letting the other person step offline or anything like that. So seems to be a conversation. Looks like maybe New Mike got hit in both legs. Not sure what the call was there.
I'm
New Mike called dead
guessing
though.
new mic was the one that called dead. Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah, because what it was looking like was Ferrix thinking that maybe he had gotten both legs but gotten hit in the back. So a question of timing on which one happened first.
Yeah.
My God, we'll hop right back in here and take a look at what happens.
Yeah, great.
First
So
exchange.
New Mike did a great job just sneaking right by the edge of Ferric's sword. And
Yeah.
Ferric likes to rely on those points a lot.
Yeah.
And it looked like the point had been turned away from the shoulder. So instead of covering it, it was down and away, which gave New Mike a really, really nice shot in there. Good use of angles.
You can see he's got the shield set up in a different position for this next fight.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah, for sure. Again. This was an interesting exchange because there's a lot of shots thrown. Let's see here. Nice block. Another solid block. There is the first leg to New Mike, it looks like, right here. Throw. That probably tags Ferric's hand, or right above the hand. And the second one looks like it got caught on the edge of the shield and then kind of brushes his leg. So, not a valid shot by any means.
And I'm back in at this point.
Excellent.
Welcome back, Big Head.
And then Ferrix takes the stab, but gets into the leg. I really like this short shot, though, that he throws to hit right above the knee. Unfortunately, like, he ends up having to dive really hard to get the kill. But he threw a shot to hit the ground and then pulled back, kind of changing the range really well. I think it could have been advantageous if he didn't do the beat where he stepped fully away. If he'd thrown half step then returned back in to throw for the leg. Might have been able to get something. Another good little exchange. Throws outside, catches the board. Solid blocks on both sides. This was interesting. Because that almost looks like... I guess he does take it. Okay. Really, I thought he really caught it with the board. It looks like it barely just flexes and touches Ferrix's arm. So this is a good call on Ferrix's part then. Because it looks pretty solidly blocked. Because New Mike's hand is actually coming backwards. It's coming like this.
I think he's driving the board into New Mike's hand too.
Yeah. New Mike was extending and then he's pushing the board, so it caused the sword to really whip down. So it's a good call. And there's the double leg. First one comes in. Tags right across the first leg. Step, throw. Yep. Good call. Good call. It might have been light on the second one, which is why I think they're having a conversation. I think Ferrix solidly blocked. So there's the conversation there. We're not 100% sure what it is. It's very likely, are you sure you want to take that second one? And the new Mike said yes, is what it looked like to me. And then in this fight, we have Solve on our left and Mist again on our right. Solve is going to be out of Rising Winds, and Mist is out of, I believe, Neverwinter is the kingdom I'm part of, or Winter's Edge.
Yeah.
So good, right? Oh, this is an interesting exchange. That's what happens when you move every 2 years. Saul likes to do a lot of kind of flourishes, so like throw into hanging guard, spins, those kinds of things. So it's interesting to see how they're gonna line up, because Mist really enjoys using a lot of unders and backhands and stuff. Kind of got a fairly solid punch style.
And Mist looks very, very comfortable trying to get Solve to commit to something and step out of a prepared range.
Yeah.
And Solve, from what I've seen in the fights that I've watched on Come Try Larp, that weekend was really, really great about when he does advance forward, keeping very balanced and being able to move back very, very quickly too, to prevent from being drawn out.
Yeah. One of those always be ready to retreat kind of situations.
Yeah.
Just very, if you're ever nervous about something, you just back up, get away. Yeah. But I see a lot of confidence out of both of their styles right now, which is kind of fun.
I think Solve just declared posting there, is what it looks like.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so had gotten hit in the left leg, and now has to use that as a pivot point.
Looks like probably Simon there. Ooh, good pullback on Mist part.
Yeah,
Cleared
great
the arm
work.
out. Yeah. Oh, that was good. So I've got a sneaky hand block and then still got hit in the arm, but came up under there. And it looks like Mist took the win there.
Yeah. And Mist shot exchanges have been great throughout the bouts that we've seen so far. She's just very on point with just attacking and blocking and getting into that grind. And just good work, seeing the dividends on that one paying off.
For sure.
The big spin.
I really love going for the big spin here. I wish Solve had been able to get the board tucked into his body after he started the spin, but it was worth it to throw it out there. It's like one of those 10% of shots. If you hit somebody with it, they're gonna think about that the rest of the day. So you gotta just like get it out the way. Good little behind the head block. Blocks that first shot. Mist manages to sneak in a shot to the torso, but great block there. Hits the edge of the board, hits the sword, and then right here, Saul let his board dip out too far, and then looks like I think they called Simo on that one.
Sort of look. I think so too. Yeah.
Because it looked like Mist got hit at the same time or just shortly after. That was
some
very
solid.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of feeler shots there. I'm like,
good feeler shots, like good controlling of range, and then Solve gets a really, really great block where he had to jump down kind of far, but solid block. Mist just kind of controlling the fight pretty heavily in this.
why are they throwing so many feeler shots here? What's
the thing is like fighters who don't know each other very well, they have to kind of learn range. They have to understand where that other person is. And the great thing about throwing those kind of dump shots or like feeler shots or whatever you want to call them is that you can learn how someone's going to move, and then you can use that to pump fake out of it. So like Solve throwing these loops is fantastic because it's a motion that he really likes, and he still feels really safe in it. He can move a lot out of it. Mist is doing the exact same thing. She's throwing a lot of crosses because her ability to go from the cross under her shield is just amazing because she's using a punch in this case. So she can, if she's got her board in the right place and she throws that, she can just put her hand down and then bring her board over. Whereas if you have like a strap shield, most of the time you're gonna have to punch yourself in the arm, so you have to do a larger motion. So it's you're gonna see a lot of fighting up high from her.
Yeah, I think they're also two fighters who are very, very comfortable engaging at maximum range. So a lot of feeler shots because I don't think either of them really wants to be the first to close in.
Yeah.
In this sort of thing, a lot of times my tournament fights are pretty similar to this too, where it'll be strike disengage, because I don't want people to get into a grindy fight with me, and I think both of these fighters are sort of on that same page.
Yeah.
I mean, Solve is kind of forced into that in this particular case, and just goes for the simul because he doesn't want to be in that situation anymore.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of those feeler shots typically when fighters, it's not even that they're not comfortable in those specific zones, it's that they don't have context on the other person, so they don't know how to be comfortable in those zones.
Yeah.
Good little blocks. I'm loving the dark side stuff. The one thing I would like to see a little bit more out of them is a little bit more like low shots or low fakes at the very least. Mist is very active with her board. It goes all over the place. So if you throw like low pumps, you're gonna get more reactions to where you can come and cross blocks. And Solve actually gets a really, really cool block in here at one point underneath his shield, and then gets tagged in the arm anyway. And then
unfortunately, I can't see that one.
Yeah, it looks like what happened is Solve went to throw the heavy wrap and bopped Mist in the head. So it's just kind of like a Hail Mary, go for Simo. All right, and it looks like we have Drogon and New Mike. Drogon's going to be on our left. New Mike is going to be on our right. There were so many lefties at this tournament. It's very interesting to get to see, and none of them were like low scale either. Everybody brought something different to the table. It was very, very fun. It's very interesting coming as a lefty because like you don't get to fight as many lefties as often, so even your specific experience is kind of limited. Looks like we had a little stutter there. I didn't get to see the fight, but it looks like Drogon got armed. Yeah, Drogon got armed in there, but it was probably a very similar shot to what new Mike hit Ferrix with, so I'm guessing. He has a tendency to like lean back on his body a little bit and throw because he's got extremely good range. So he'll lean back on his knees a little bit and throw. So I'm guessing he probably just did the exact same thing to Drogon and got in there. Could have tipped it an understab. Just misranged it a little bit.
Yeah,
Hat
Drogon
down
looks
again.
Drogon looks really committed to try and get that stab, and New Mike looks like he's pretty frequently setting up to power into a trace. So they both, for the first little bit of there, had kind of their move that they were wanting to land.
Right. So new Mike gets to fight with one of the other lefties fairly regularly. His name's Chase, which I don't think we're going to see in this series because I think it was a different pools. But so it's interesting to see how his experience with that other fighter could affect what he's currently doing. Drogon seems to have twisted his ankle.
Yeah, some sort of misstep of some sort.
Looks like we're 2 up on new Mike. A lot of posturing, a lot of trying to feel each other out. Like they're kind of staying inside of range and just kind of stomping at each other, which is interesting to see because they're not really like retreating or circling each other. I wonder if this is just like a lack of understanding about fighting lefties, because typically you have like a specific thing that you do when you fight a right-hand fighter. You want to normally move to one side or the other, or rather you have it built into your head to move to one side or the other. But as soon as one of them moves a little bit, they're kind of like right back into the same position. They're just locking up. So what were you gonna say, Big Head?
Yeah, it seemed like New Mike was picking a range that he wanted to be at.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked like New Mike had picked a range that he wanted to be at, and was trying to just get Drogon to advance from there, and that didn't end up the game plan. And Drogon looked like he was more staying. And my internet has internet again.
Yeah,
it's okay. I get what you're saying though, but I think that's totally correct. I think new Mike is doing a fantastic job of just using every ability he's got. He's tall, he's got long arms, he's got really good strength. It looks like he's probably using a 35 or 36 inch bat too, which is going to be, near maximum, if not maximum, that you can actually get in there. Drogon does a great reverse wrap here. Not sure why new Mike dropped. I think that was just like a misstep in their brain, because as soon as you see that he dropped, he was already putting the sword in the other hand. I think he just kind of screwed up there. But that was fantastic, because it was good pump out and then return in. Got new Mike really far out of position.
This is the last fight.
Okay. So yeah, one thing I see new Mike's doing a lot is extending his arm almost backwards when he's throwing his shots. It's limiting his selection just a little bit, because he's strong enough to do it and still have a lot of power. But if he had thrown it as like an up or even a reverse, it would put him in a little bit better of a spot. Could you back up that last fight just a little bit? I just want to see the last shot that happened. I think I've missed it both times.
It's the leg hunt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Takes the arm and then.
Yeah, Drogon kind of allows the fight to reset and then just goes in for the thigh here.
Okay. Yeah, smart plan. You can see the beginnings of the footwork where Drogon was moving a little bit off center when aggressing. And this should be a pretty fun series of fights to watch. So we have Mist on the left and Ferrix on our right.
Yeah, this won't be the standoffish fight.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier, Ferrix is very aggressive. Mist is comfortable just staying in that range and throwing too. Stand and bang, stand and return, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they're both punch users, but two different styles, which is very cool. Ferrix is with the square, and then Mist has like it's a kite shield almost. I believe is a more proper term, but a small one at that.
And 1-1.
Lots of quick shots, lots of exchanging. Good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was going to be a great shot.
It was, wasn't it? I apologize. Let's get right back to it
Ferrix
here.
goes all the way under and then turns his hand backwards, which is very cool. It's a big motion, but it really puts the other fighter at a disadvantage if they're not paying attention. Looks like caught it with that board. You can see the hand turning over. And then throws the reverse into the hip, and then gets hit in the face.
Ferrix
I know
got the
Ferrix has a name for
Velcros.
that shot. I don't remember the name of it.
It's very pretty. I use it lefty versus righty sometimes, so it's very interesting to see. Ferrix uses the board to cover his hand a lot, which I think is kind of cool because it's a different style than what you'll see Mist doing. Mist kind of keeps her sword out in front of the board or very close to the board, whereas like Ferrix seems to be more comfortable going underneath it for like a standard position. But they both have really, really great undersides.
Yeah.
I'm filming here. No, you're fine.
Good little bit of leg hunting.
Yeah, and Ferrix has the nastiest lefty hip wrap for a righty,
Yes.
but I think that he catches it in the knee before he's actually able to launch it out. Oh, no, never mind.
No, it
Okay, just connects with the leg and gets hit in the belly. That would explain.
yeah, and then that was just like a weird call. The fight was already over. One of those kinds of things.
Yeah. Sometimes the brain does weird things.
Yeah,
We're
we all do
trying to parse out what just happened, and it's difficult.
This is a pretty just straightforward shot. There wasn't a whole lot of like setup to it, and I think that was probably what was like part of the good aspect of it was that there was no setup. There was nothing to really let Mist know that something else was coming. So
Yeah.
she ended up just getting bopped on the shoulder for it. Okay, it looks like we got New Mike and Solve. Solve's going to be on our left, and New Mike's going to be on our right. They should be pretty good. Like we said earlier, New Mike really likes to kind of range things out, but he only backs up so far, and then he gets stuck in place. Solve's got a pretty good ability to kind of aggress and change levels and exactly like that, get the other fighter to remove themselves from the fight and then take advantage from that. I feel like Solve might have tried to get a little too fancy there. And there.
I missed the whole fight.
That's okay.
Here we are in slow motion.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Solve likes to change levels a lot and really get the other fighter to make a motion, but New Mike is just kind of standing and using all other abilities. Comes in, tags in the arm, probably hits in the body a little bit. Yep, looks like Solve's calling that. And then Solve tries to get fancy with a inside spin to shield side shoulder, gets hit right off the bat. And then New Mike it retreats with his body, keeps the board out and in space, and manages to get a really good block out of it.
One of the weirdest spins I've seen.
It's a bold move going for the spin against a lefty when you're down a fight.
It's
Like,
it's
props
not even that
to
he's
him.
yeah, it's not even that he's down a fight. It's that he's down like a foot. Like New Mike was very tall. Like New Mike was an extremely tall fighter. So to try and go for something like that it's just a lot, you know.
It's all right. Looks good. Yeah.
It's risky for sure. That was an interesting fight.
Board's a lot easier
Fell
than
all over the
single
place. Drogon seems to have lost his hat once again.
moving.
Recurring
Not
theme.
sure how that was called.
I got a scrunchie in. It's just not good. It's just not working. Okay.
Yeah, I saw Ferrix indicate having been hit in the arm or the shoulder.
Yeah.
But exactly
I
what
think there
happened
was a-
outside of that, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think there was a leg in there as well, but I could have missed it, or misseen it. Okay, again, kind of like feeling out the other fighter. Good shot, fantastic shot. Drew Ferrix's board out by moving a little bit to the left. As soon as he saw the board come out, Drogon managed to snipe that shoulder. Great, good double leg. Great double leg. Yeah,
I
so
guess
you
they
can
called
see.
Ferrix having won the first fight then. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah. So then I must have not seen that shot correctly, because there was just like a lot that happened here. Takes a step back, still at the same range. Half step into shield block, perfect. Throws to hit the leg, kind of comes up. Hits him in the arm. Hits Drogon on the back. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I
And
totally,
Ferrix just goes down throwing. Okay, yeah.
I totally missed that shot earlier. Then it hit the edge of the board. So
Yeah, Drogon's calling Taurus over here
yeah,
with the
so
pommel. That's what it was.
Ferrix threw over on that last one and hit, which was pretty
Okay.
good. And then had his head over here, but it didn't hit the head. It just hit him in the arm. So yeah, then here we just see like a little tiny movement to the left, pump fake, and then throw to the shoulder, I believe, is this fight. Maybe that's the next fight. Nope, it's this try. Boom. So Ferrix, kind of the same thing that happened the other time with that shoulder, seems to be forgetting where his point is. So that point is flattening out and leaving the shoulder a little bit exposed. And with how Ferrix likes to get down and kind of in your face, really, really need that coverage. And
Yeah.
Drogon did a fantastic job of just taking advantage of it. Little tiny movement, boom. And then here we just see like a gorgeous double leg. Brings his sword up, or brings his shield up to cover what he's doing on the second part. And Drogon's bringing his shield down. So like right here, Drogon can't really see probably most of what Ben is doing, or what Ferrix is doing. Ferrix steps out, hits him, and they're like, I know all these fighters by like first names, and it's just
Right.
I forget. And then it looks like we have Mist on the left and New Mike on our right. So much lefty content. All you aspiring lefties, watch this tournament. So yeah, like I said earlier, Mist and I, we've fought a good couple of times, so it's interesting to see what she brings to the table when fighting other lefties. And then New Mike, again, trying to use their range for the most part, but gets kind of caught. Like I said earlier, he retreats just like to a certain point and then stops, and really needs to keep his feet going in that case. So I'm not sure. That was just a great pop to the shoulder. So what caused that? So steps out. So Mist steps to the right just a little bit. New Mike reads that as a hip shot. You can see both his board and sword come down, and then Mist steps through, Throws a great shot over the shield. Hits New Mike in the body.
The Mist has this zigzagging advance on New Mike throughout most of the fights that really lets her kind of adjust the angle at the last moment to do whatever it is that she feels like doing in that particular round. And it works for her excessively well for this part.
Yeah, I think she's actually utilizing the fact like that Mike is as tall as he is. I think she just paid attention to what she was seeing previously, and moving off center is causing New Mike to really get locked down, so she can just like advance and take any shots that she wants at that point. So it looks like we should be getting probably pretty close on these fights. This is going to be Drogon versus Saul. Drogon is going to be on our left, and Saul is going to be on our right. So I think we have, it's either this fight or one more after this. So unfortunately, the camera is on the wrong side. Saul and I used to fight together quite a bit, so he's also got some good lefty experience. Throws inside, goes to block, and then or throws across, goes to block, and then tries to do similar thing and gets sniped in the arm for it by Drogon. Drogon did a great job. Just kind of keeps his board in front of him, closes enough range to throw in, and I can't tell if Drogon got hit in the shoulder or if he called ahead there.
Drogon's had that advancing leg shot work for him very, very well in several fights.
It's super smart. You keep your board out in front of you. You kind of lock up the space, and then you while they're kind of trying to focus on where your hand is in space, it's hidden behind your board, and you just step in and hit him in the leg. And you can take a sample from it sometimes, but for the most part, it's a fairly safe tactic.
Yeah.
And Saul is down an arm, trying to recover here. I've got a feeling we're going to see another leg shot. Oh, that was very pretty. So yeah, swords behind the board, board's out in front. Just kind of rushes. The one thing I'll say is that he's doing a very good job of covering his shoulder, except for the very last part, and that's the one thing I was going to worry about. So it looks like that was probably a Simon then. Is that when you're doing that, a lot of people tend to bring their shield out to cover their arm in that case, when really you should keep your shoulder covered and just take the arm trade if an arm pick comes out of it. You know, you're already at an advantage. You have both your legs and both your arms. So, you know, a lot of people will bring their shield down to cover the arm when really they should just keep it locked over their shoulder.
It's one of those, the difference in tactics between ditching and tournament fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of little flourishes, both of them throwing under. So Travis is skipping a little bit here, or Drogon is skipping a little bit where he's just planting his foot and kind of doing lots of half steps. I think if he had just done a full step there, or if he had used his back foot to propel him more as opposed to kind of leaving it trailing behind him, he probably would have hit Saul on that spin out.
I am curious if Drogon didn't do a full step because he didn't want Saul to run into the light in the back there too.
Very possible. Very possible.
I promise you he's watching this. Maybe we can get a TikTok out of him for the explanation.
And then Drogon does a really great, like, he brings his hand backwards and then throws to hit Saul in the arm. Yeah, it's hits underneath the arm is the interesting thing. So it's down, back, and then under to hit underneath the arm. Great shot. And if he had taken, you know, like a 2-inch step further, he probably would hit the body really well. And we have Ferrix versus Saul. Ferrix is on our left, Saul's on our right. Looks like we were right in
This is always really difficult for pools with Saul going directly from a loss into fighting an opponent like Ferrix is never an easy thing to do mentally.
Yeah, it's definitely something you have to contend with, is the whole mental game. You know, you may not think about it like immediately losing a fight and then going into another one. You know, your average fighter might just be like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. But when you're fighting at a fairly high level like this, you're constantly assessing everything that's going on around you. You know, it's the whole mental game of every aspect of it. And they seem to be having a really good time. They're definitely laughing. You can see they're smiling really for the whole fight, but it can definitely drain on some people, having to immediately go into something like that.
Yeah, they were unit mates for a long time. I know that Ferrix is no longer part of Path of the Dragon, but Saul is currently. So,
Right.
I know they got a lot of history.
Yeah, that looks like that was our last fight here. But yeah, one thing I was gonna say is that you'll see that a lot in like grand finals when you have a loser and a winner, and the loser has to reset the bracket. One of the things they have to really worry about is keeping their mental game up. This is a nice little exchange here. Saul steps in, just really turns his shoulder forward, and Ferrix just barely doesn't hit there. Looks like that was a block. Looks like that got hit on the bottom of the glove. Is he taking that arm? That was a kill, I believe.
Yeah, I think he takes the shoulder for sure. He may have taken arm, but I believe he also
I think he was taking the arm, which is why he stopped, because it definitely looked like he paused a little bit. Oh, that might have been neck. Not entirely sure. They didn't pause, so I'm not positive what there.
There was no. Yeah, they did not gently touch tips for round 2.
Yeah, but as Big Head said earlier, they were unit mates, so that's very possible that they were just like, let's just go. Or we didn't get to see it because of the camera angle, and it might have hit Saul in the neck. And then the first call that I made, which is where he blocked it with the pommel there. It's very possible too.
Saul already being dead, having got hit in the back.
Yep.
Looks so pretty too.
I wonder if Big Head's here. Are you here, Big Head?
I don't think he is.
I can't see him. I can't hear him. That's all right. We will get through, I believe. Last fight of the night, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in for a little longer episode.
Yeah.
It's a good exchange right here.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Ferrix went really low, and it looks like Saul just kind of knew it wasn't going in.
Welcome back, sir. A good block here.
Mm-hmm.
Before we have an explosive exchange of shots.
So Ferrix goes really low in this section, then steps up. Saul recognized that it wasn't going in. Throws a great pump down to get the shield to come out of the position, and then throws over top. So that's like one of the bigger disadvantages about using a punch sometimes is that like you have to be very mobile with it if you're not really perfect at cutting corners. So.
And then just absolutely jukes him out of his shoes here. Just too pretty. In slow motion, but it is much quicker than it looks.
Fully under, fully back, throws around. Saul's board is just sitting there, and then it just like seems to disappear on the other side of his body for some reason. But yeah, it was a good little series of fights, I feel like.
Entirely too juicy. It is not without irony, I don't think, that you're the only person right now with a webcam. I'm going to switch back over to
I don't know.
The streamer replay, and we'll go right here in the background. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Big Head is back. We got a quick interview here with Charles Roberts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Bino,
hi, Tanith.
I appreciate you stopping out, buddy. It was good to have you doing some commentary. Thank you so much for stopping in. I'll leave you with some final thoughts here if you'd like.
Yeah, I would say if you feel comfortable going out to it, go to the next Come Try Larp event. Like I said earlier, there was not a high turnout, but the turnout that was fighting was very good, and I'd like to see more people show up. and maybe expand the brackets a little bit more. So it'd be interesting to see what happens this coming year.
It was a good time. Thank you so much for the kind words. We appreciate it. Again, this tournament is sponsored by Gorg the Blacksmith. Buy it or die by it. Thank you folks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, have a great evening.